Okay, boom. So here we got how Teen Team could have won without Rex dying. I have no idea how that's actually possible. I actually think the Invincibles were tweaking for not absolutely squad wiping the entire human population. But let's get into what Bay got to talk about today.
During the Invincible War, an Invincible variant attacked Teen Team at their base, and he was working our boys. So to save everyone, Rex sacrificed himself by blowing himself up and taking the variant with him. I know we all let out some tears when this happened because Rex is the mother goat. But after wiping my tears and rewatching this scene, I thought of a few different ways that Teen Team could have won without Rex dying. And here's how. The scene starts off with the variant having already broke in and holding Robot by his throat. Robot is basically Tony Stark of the Invincible universe, and he was around when Cecil used that sound device to put Mark down. He actually was the one who figured out how to disable it to save Mark. So I kind of find it hard to believe that he didn't have the Teen Team headquarters rigged with the sound device, or at least have a suit rigged with it, or multiple suits.
Spoilers for like the next 30 seconds, so just skip ahead if you don't want Invincible to be spoiled for the next couple of seasons. But it's interesting because Robot does end up doing that exact thing later, so it's interesting that he didn't have it ready at the time. I guess because his motive for doing it later hadn't come into his mind yet, so there was no reason for him to want to do that. But it's weird that as smart of a character as he is, and like compared to Tony Stark, he's like smarter than Tony Stark. He's smarter than Reed Richards if you're comparing intelligence. I know they're not in the same universe, but if you know, you know, and if you don't know, he will get to that point, which you should have skipped if you didn't want spoilers. So there should be no one that doesn't know that's watching this. So it's interesting that he wouldn't assume that the Viltrumites would eventually come back and that would be something very useful to have, not necessarily against Mark, but against all Viltrumites, but also maybe just kind of like build some leverage against, you know, the off chance of Mark just going full Homelander on you guys, right? It might have been a smart thing to do, honestly. That's a pretty valid point that I never considered for the story before.
It's rigged with it, especially considering Robot takes into consideration the many different outcomes of things and situations, and he's already said that he knows Invincible is the strongest superhero on Earth, so it would make sense for Robot to have some contingencies for him. So once the variant breaks in, Robot could activate the device which would put the variant down. And yes, this would work. We saw Cecil using it against another variant in this episode.
Yep.
Then, while the variant's down, Monster Girl and Bulletproof, the heavy hitters on this team, could come in and just curb stomp him till he's done. Boom. It's that easy. But let's say Robot doesn't have the device. That's fine. I have another strat that should work. Rex can charge and explode anything, so he could have put his paws on the variant and blown him up rather than blowing himself up. I honestly don't know why he didn't try this. His hand was already on the variant's arm, so this could have worked. The only problem I can think of for this strategy is that they're too close, so maybe if the variant goes boom, then Rex goes boom as well. But it's worth a try.
Right, actually, can he do that to humans? I've never seen him do it to organic material in the comics or in the show, actually. Interesting. I kind of thought it was a same deal with Adam Eve that it would be with him, in that like he can do it, but he can't do it to like organic material, right?
Anything he touches can be charged and exploded, then I don't know how touching other people wouldn't blow them up too. Actually, Rex blowing him up in close proximity shouldn't affect him anyways. Rex put his...
Wait, hang on. But he turned his skeleton into an exploding, you know, object, and his skeleton is organic material. He is an organic being, so that actually makes no sense. No, he's onto something with this.
Hands on the ground and blew up the entire floor and was perfectly fine. There was a scene earlier in this episode when he blew up his clothes, and he also was standing on a trash can and he blew up the trash can. None of those things hurt him, so I think his explosions just don't affect him. So
that's what I'm saying. Is it like a Cyclops deal where like, you know, like Cyclops's optic beams can't hurt him? Like that's why he can cover his eyes with his hand and they won't go through his hand, and that's why they don't go through his eyelids either, is because his body is impervious to the optic beams, but nothing else is, right?
Should be fine if you blew up the variant too. So boom, it's that easy. Rex lives.
Yay!
But don't worry, we got a few more strategies. Another strat would be for Bulletproof to continue fighting. He was looking good and landed a few good juicers. He also walked away completely unharmed, so I think he could continue fighting, and while doing so, Rex could get a hand on the variant to charge him up. Maybe Bulletproof could get the variant in a chokehold and Rex could blow him up, or better yet, get him in a full Nelson.
I spun the nigga around and I put the nigga in a full Nelson.
That variant is cooked.
Swung
if my boy
body.
Bulletproof gets him in a full Nelson.
I was never in a full Nelson though.
So what's going on?
A full Nelson never happened.
And if Rex can't blow him up, while Bulletproof has him in the full Nelson, the rest of the team could roll up, beat his ass, get the dub, and that's it. I think this strat would work pretty good because I have no evidence or reason to believe that Bulletproof is significantly weaker than this variant. I have yet to see
Bulletproof is significantly weaker than Viltrumites, let me tell you. That's probably why that doesn't happen in the comic, or in the animated show, because it doesn't happen in the comic. In the comic, as you will see as the story unfolds in the animated show, Bulletproof is strong. Like, I would say he's probably the second or third strongest person that's not a Viltrumite. So it would be like the Immortal, and then there's like a couple of other heroes you'll see that are pretty strong, like Tech Knight, and there's like a couple of other guys, and then Bulletproof is up there. He's like top 5 for sure, but none of those guys is on the level of a Viltrumite, right? Like a thoroughbred Viltrumite. So I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. Except maybe the Immortal, as we discussed the other day, but Bulletproof is below those guys. So no.
Bulletproof gets stomped out by anyone, so I think
cannot bang.
Another strat that involves Rudy yet again is remaking the Mauler twins' nervous system gun. This shit was lethal and worked against all the Guardians, and it worked well against Mark. This is assuming that Robot is as smart as the Mauler twins, but they seem fairly even in terms of intelligence. The only difference is that the Mauler twins use their intelligence to try to take over the world, and Rudy uses his just not that often, I guess.
For now.
Anyways, he could remake the gun by stealing the Mauler twin schematics, or just figuring out how to remake it with the half of the gun that was left after Oliver destroyed it. Just one way or another, the gun gets made. Then, once the variant breaks in, Rudy can grab the gun and just start blasting. Then, after the variant gets hit and he goes down, everyone could just gang up and jump him. This gun could also help take down Conquest when he arrives. Once he starts fighting Mark, Rudy could fly in or just get teleported to Mark's location and blast Conquest a couple times. I don't really know how much damage it would do because Conquest is just...
Again, that sonic pulse device would have been really useful against Conquest. It's kind of interesting how that's conveniently forgotten about when the story requires a Viltrumite to just wreck shit, bro. Because I don't think there's any point in the story where Viltrumites overcome that. No, they absolutely do not overcome it for the entirety of the story. So it's interesting how it kind of vanishes when the story needs Viltrumites to just wreck shit unimpeded.
Stupid strong, but I'm sure it would help out a little bit and even give Mark the edge. The last strat I have is if they just fought like a team off the rip. When we cut to the fight, Monster Girl and Rex were already down, and the variant already had Robot by the throat. Where was Bulletproof when all this happened? In Season 1, Monster Girl low-key slapped Battle Beast for a second, and he would squash this variant with ease. So if when this variant first came in, Bulletproof and Monster Girl fought together, they could probably run the...
Damn, that's crazy. Monster Girl made Battle Beast bleed? I kind of forgot about that. I really wasn't paying attention to that. Also, I didn't understand how strong Battle Beast was at the time. That's kind of crazy. It's a little inconsistent. Unless Monster Girl is really just that strong, which I guess she is.
Fade on him. Then just add Rex's bombs that were doing damage to the variant, not to mention if he could grab him and charge him and blow him up, it's over. Then Robot could be shooting him from a distance, and with all this combined, I think Teen Team could bring home the gold. And if Bulletproof can get Broski and Full Nelson, it's done. It's over. It's wraps.
Yeah, I actually think those are some pretty valid strats. I think for the story, you know, obviously that's not going to happen, but those are actually some pretty valid strats. And if they had been thinking, and if they hadn't been so caught off guard, they probably could have implemented them to defeat that variant. But hey, let me know what you think down below. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.